My name is Diana Castellano, and 3 weeks ago, I stood in the security office of my newest luxury estate development, watching the surveillance footage of a family moving into Unit 12. The woman directing the movers looked familiar. Then I saw him, my ex-husband Michael, older and grayer, carrying boxes through the door of a home I designed. His mother Patricia followed behind, complaining about something I couldn't hear through the screen. The same woman who called me a liability 8 years ago and had me escorted off her property was now living in mine. I didn't announce myself. I didn't need to. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is success, so quiet they never see it coming. But let me take you back to where this really started, because you don't build an empire from rage alone. You build it from the moment you realize you were never the problem. 8 years ago, I was married to Michael Hartwick, son of the Hartwick real estate dynasty. His family owned commercial properties across 3 states, the kind of old money that came with expectations and judgment in equal measure. I met Michael at a community college where I was taking night classes in architecture while working as a waitress. He was there teaching a guest lecture for his father's foundation, playing the humble rich kid. I fell for it. For him. We dated for 2 years. His family tolerated me at first, probably thinking I'd disappear like the other women Michael brought home. But when he proposed, everything changed. His mother Patricia made her feelings clear at our engagement dinner. "Michael, darling, are you sure about this? She has no education, no connections, no assets. She's a waitress with architectural fantasies. What exactly does she bring to this family?" I sat there, engagement ring heavy on my finger, while Michael squeezed my hand under the table and said nothing. His father, Edward, at least had the decency to look uncomfortable. Michael's sister, Lauren, just scrolled through her phone. That should have been my sign to leave. But I loved him. Or I loved who I thought he was. We got married anyway. Small ceremony, his family barely present. I moved into the Hartwick estate, a sprawling compound in Connecticut where 3 generations lived in separate wings. I was given a room in the East Wing, told to stay out of family business, reminded constantly that I was an outsider who'd gotten lucky. I tried everything. I took courses, learned the business, offered ideas for their properties. Patricia would smile that cold smile and say, "How sweet. Leave the real work to people who understand it." Michael never defended me. He'd apologize in private, make excuses, ask me to be patient. So I was patient. For 2 years, I was patient. Then I got pregnant. I thought maybe this would change things. A grandchild, a new generation, a reason for them to see me differently. I was wrong. I miscarried at 12 weeks. It happened at home, alone, while Michael was at a business meeting and his family was at some charity gala I hadn't been invited to. I called Michael 17 times. He didn't answer. I drove myself to the hospital, sat in the emergency room for 4 hours, and lost the baby I'd already started loving. When I got home that night, Patricia was in the kitchen making tea. I told her what happened, my voice breaking, expecting something human. Sympathy. Comfort. Anything. She set down her cup and looked at me with something close to relief. "Perhaps it's for the best. You're not ready to be a mother. You can barely take care of yourself. Have you ever had someone show you exactly who they are in one sentence? Let me know in the comments." That was the moment something broke in me. Not my heart. That was already broken. Something deeper. The part that believed I needed their approval to matter. 3 months later, Michael and I had our final fight. I'd been talking to a contractor about renovating the guest house, showing him some designs I'd been working on. Patricia found us, accused me of trying to play architect with family property, told me I was embarrassing the Hartwick name. I finally snapped. I told her I was tired of being treated like hired help in my own marriage. She called a family meeting. All of them, sitting in the formal living room like a tribunal. Patricia stood at the front. "Diana, we've been generous. We welcomed you into this family despite your background, but you've become a liability. You're volatile, you overstep, and frankly, you're a distraction Michael doesn't need. We think it's time you moved on." I looked at Michael, waiting for him to say something. Anything. He stared at his hands. His father shifted uncomfortably. Lauren kept scrolling through her phone. No one defended me. Patricia continued. "We'll provide a generous settlement, $50,000. In exchange, you'll sign a non-disclosure agreement and vacate the property within 48 hours. You're buying me out of my own marriage? We're offering you a fresh start. Take it. I looked at Michael one more time. He still wouldn't meet my eyes. So I stood up, walked to our room, packed one suitcase, and left that night. I didn't take their money. I didn't sign anything. I just left. I moved into a studio apartment in Hartford, the cheapest place I could find. I had $600 in my personal account and a degree I'd never finished. I spent the first week crying. The second week, I got angry. The third week, I got to work. I started applying for jobs in construction and architecture firms. No one wanted to hire someone with my incomplete education and no real experience. So I went to construction sites, introduced myself to foremen, offered to work for minimum wage, just to learn. One guy, Tony Moretti, saw something in me. He ran a small residential construction company and needed someone to help with permits and design consultations. He hired me on the spot. I worked harder than I'd ever worked in my life. I learned every aspect of construction from the ground up. Literally. I spent mornings pouring foundations and afternoons learning AutoCAD. Tony taught me how to read blueprints, negotiate with suppliers, manage crews. I took online courses at night, finished my architecture degree through a distance program. 2 years in, I passed my licensing exam. That's when I made my first real move. A property went up for auction, a foreclosed home in a decent neighborhood that needed major renovation. I'd saved every dollar I could, had about $30,000. I convinced Tony to co-sign a loan with me. We bought it for $45,000, spent 3 months renovating it, and sold it for $90,000. We split the profit. I took my share and bought 2 more properties. The formula was simple. Buy distressed properties, renovate them beautifully, sell at market rate. I did it again and again. I hired my first crew, then my second. I wasn't just flipping houses anymore, I was building a company. 4 years after leaving the Hartwick estate, I had a small construction firm with 15 employees. We specialized in luxury renovations and custom builds. My designs were featured in regional magazines. Clients started requesting me specifically. I reinvested every dollar, took calculated risks, worked 80-hour weeks. The turning point came 5 years ago. A developer wanted to build a luxury estate community in Westchester County, but couldn't get the financing and permits approved. The project was too ambitious, too expensive, too risky. I saw potential. I spent 6 months putting together a proposal, found investors who believed in my vision, and bought the project from him for half what he'd invested. It took 2 years to build. 20 custom estates, each one designed by me, each one unique. Sustainable materials, smart home technology, architectural significance. I called the development Castellano Heights. My name, my legacy. The estate sold for an average of $3 million each. I cleared $15 million in profit. That money became the foundation of everything else. I bought land, developed 3 more communities, expanded into commercial properties. By year 7, my company was valued at $80 million. I employed over 200 people. I'd become exactly what Patricia said I'd never be. Successful, independent, significant. Last year, I broke ground on my most ambitious project, a luxury estate development in Greenwich, Connecticut, 45 minutes from where the Hartwick family still lived. 20 estates, each one starting at $5 million. The kind of properties people like the Hartwicks aspired to own. The sales office opened 6 months ago. We had waiting lists. Every estate sold within weeks. I didn't handle sales directly anymore. I had a team for that. I focused on design and development. So when Unit 12 sold to a family named Hartwick, I didn't see the paperwork until after closing. I was in my office when my sales director mentioned it casually. That Hartwick family that bought Unit 12, they seemed really proud of the name, said they were in real estate. Know them? I pulled up the file. Michael and Patricia Hartwick. Listed as co-buyers. They downsized from the family estate, the listing agent noted. Needed something more manageable. They'd paid full price, $5.2 million, and moved in last month. I could have announced myself, could have shown up at their door, revealed that I owned the property, the land, the entire development. Could have savored the shock on Patricia's face when she realized the liability she'd dismissed now held the deed to her home. But I didn't. Because I'd learned something they never understood. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need validation or witnesses. It just exists, quiet and undeniable. Instead, I did something better. I upgraded their property management services, made sure their landscaping was immaculate, their maintenance requests handled within hours, their community amenities exceeded expectations. I wanted them to love living there, to feel safe, comfortable, proud of their beautiful home in their exclusive community. I wanted them to never know they were living in my world, by my design, under my ownership. That every morning when Patricia woke up in that house and looked out at those grounds, she was experiencing the life I built from the ashes of the one she destroyed. 3 weeks ago, I was reviewing security footage for a community event when I saw them on screen. Michael walking their dog through the paths I designed. Patricia chatting with neighbors at the clubhouse I built. They looked happy, settled, content in their beautiful estate. I closed the laptop and smiled. Not the cold smile Patricia used to give me. Something warmer. Something that came from knowing I'd won without them ever knowing there was a competition. They called me a liability, an embarrassment, someone who'd never amount to anything without their name. Now they sleep in my estate, walk on my land, live in the world I created, and they have no idea. That's not revenge, that's poetry. I still design every property myself. I still visit the sites, talk to the crews, approve every detail. Last week I drove past Castellano Heights just to see it in the evening light. The estates glowed warm against the sunset, families visible through windows, lives unfolding in homes I made possible. Michael's car was in the driveway of Unit 12. I didn't stop. I didn't slow down. I just kept driving. Back to my office, my company, my life. The one I built without their approval, without their money, without their name. The one that proved the only liability in that marriage was believing I needed them to be whole. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to watch more revenge and inspiring stories that will make you excited like this one. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments and let us know what you think about this story.